Static grass. So today on Worthington Model Railway we're going to talk a little bit about static grass, what I do with it, how I apply it, different types of static grass. We'll also look at how to build a static grass applicator. It actually is way easier. It actually is way easier than you may think. And so I'll show you how I built a static grass applicator, and then we'll actually look at applying the grass, and we'll do it with both a commercial applicator and the one that I built, and we can see the difference between the two. So static grass comes in different types. You can buy these mats of static grass. I like to use these in places where it's difficult to get an applicator and to be able to get the loose grass into. They're very useful. Come in different colors and different sizes. This is 2mm. I have some 6mm. Actually, that's 6mm. Start again. This is 2mm. Comes in different colors too. Here's a dark green. So I like to use that. Then you have your typical static grass, which comes in lots of different shapes and sizes, different lengths. This is, I would say that's probably 6mm. This is definitely 2mm in this bag. Comes in different, some of it comes like in this clumpy stuff, which it's kind of a pain, but it's kind of a pain, but it does come apart as you apply it. Obviously comes in different colors. This is brown. This is a spring 4mm. It's foam. This is interesting. This static grass has little bits of red in there. I don't know if you can see it, but the idea is when you put it on the ground, it looks a bit like a meadow with flowers in it. I'll show you what that looks like on the layout. So all these types of grass need an applicator. And then the other sort of static grass you get is this, what's called flock. And again, it comes in different colors, but it's sort of more of a filler. It doesn't really stand up quite the same as the other static grass. The interesting thing about it though is you don't necessarily need an applicator. You can just sort of glue this down and it looks pretty good. Okay, so then when it comes to applicators, I have two here. I have a standard Pico applicator. This is a commercial one. These are about, I think, $70, $80, something like that. This is the one that I made myself that I'll show you how I made it. And we'll put some grass down with both of these and we'll see the difference. This is what that meadowy static grass looks like, the one that has what looks like bits of flowers and stuff in it. It actually is pretty effective for doing that type of thing. Okay. Static grass laid. That's what it looks like once it's been laid. As you see it does stand up nicely. It has that look, and by mixing different lengths of grass you really get a sort of grass look. Components of the static grass applicator, you have basically a chamber where you put the grass in, and then the back of that there is a terminal that's going to be part of the static. You've also got another terminal that goes to ground. You've got a cover there, and what happens is if you turn it on, you'll get a static charge runs between the two cables. That I made, 9-volt battery at this end, a switch. Inside this piece of tubing, if I pull the battery out, you can just see a black box. Now that's the device that creates the static. This particular one creates, I think, 15,000 volts of static electricity. You buy these, you can buy them online for less than 10 bucks. They're really cheap. And then all you do is you connect a 9-volt battery up to one end. I put a switch on mine because I want to be able to turn it on and off. And then on the hopper end, one thing I determined when I was building this that I don't want to get zapped, so I used a nylon screw to put the hopper on. This hopper is just an old piece of Tupperware with a a piece of mesh in front of it. That piece of mesh is actually came out of a strainer. I could actually do with a bigger mesh on here. I'm looking for some different mesh to put in there that's going to be a little bigger. And what I put on the back of here is a big washer, a big steel washer, and so one end of it's connected to that big steel washer. I think you can, hopefully you can see that. I mean, that gives me quite a large area for the static to come out of. And so one end's on that, goes through this piece of old piece of tubing I just hacked up. Doesn't look great, but it works perfectly well. And then, as I say, I connected through that metal washer with a plastic bolt, so I'm not going to get shocked off it if I touch it, because these things can give you quite a zap. I'll turn this one on and we can see the zap that comes from this one, which you will see is considerably more than the commercial one. So let me turn this on. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to keep my fingers away from it, because as you will see, hopefully, we get quite a static charge off there. So I'm not going to go into detail about how to make this do-it-yourself one. There's lots of YouTube videos out there on doing them. As I say, you can easily get the components on eBay. I probably built this thing, doesn't look great, but it works great, for 15 bucks. So I mean, pretty cheap. I check out the DCC guy. He's got a great set of videos on building one of these, rather than me trying to go through it as well. Just check his videos out. I think he's got 3 different videos on how to build one of these, and I actually used some of his videos when I put mine together. So first thing I do before I put down static grass is I put some paint down, and then I will put some PVA or Mod Podge down, and then I put this scatter down. This is Woodland Scenic Scatter. Just covers everything over. It gives me a good base. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some more Mod Podge down, and I'm going to do a couple of different areas with the two different applicators I have here, so we can see the difference. So let me grab some Mod Podge. So I'm just going to put some Mod Podge down. Pretty liberal with it in terms of putting it on the area that I'm going to put the static grass onto. As I say, just for the moment, just for a test, I'm going to show you the difference between the static grass applicator that I built and the commercial one that I have. You know, the thing about static grass applicators as well is that the really good ones are expensive. You can buy a cheap one for $20, $30 pounds. Doesn't have a lot of static. You can buy a lot of these medium sized ones for anything up to 80, 100 pounds, or you can spend a couple of £100 on a really high powered one. I don't think it's necessary to do that. So let's put some grass on these two things. So I'm going to load up the applicators and we'll see how they do. Okay, so I'm going to start on the area nearest to me with the Pico applicator. And I got, for the most part, this is a 2mm grass, but I've also got a mix of a few other things in there too to give me a little bit of length. You'll see it comes out pretty quickly. And here I'm going to go try standing it up a bit with this, so we'll look at it from the side when we're done and see how it stands up. Now I'm going to use the homemade applicator, which, as I say, has quite a bit more static charge on it. And I think, as you can see, this is standing up way more as I apply it than the other applicator. So this is the Pico Applicator grass. It's a little on the flat side. And then let's go over, and I think you can totally tell the difference with the homemade applicator. So check out those YouTube videos. Go build yourself an applicator for 10 bucks. You'll get a much better result with it than spending money on one. So the next step with static grass is to layer it. And to do this, I've added different colors and different lengths of grass into my hopper here. And then I'm going to put that on top of where I laid the static grass, and you'll see how the layering has an effect. So here's my static grass that I layered before. Remember I did this end with the Pico hopper. I actually went over that and did a little bit more with my homegrown one. So what I need to do now is I need to put some glue on here to do the layering. Now you can buy layering glue. It's not cheap and it does an excellent job, but I have my trusty can of hairspray, and I just put my hairspray onto my static grass like this. You'll notice I'm keeping it a fair distance away because I don't want to totally lay it flat. Okay, we'll come back with the applicator. So here I have the applicator with a mixture of additional grasses, and you'll see how it layers it on top and gets some longer grasses in there, so it gives an effect of different lengths and some different colors in terms of the grass that's coming out. And this applicator does do a great job of standing those grasses up, particularly the longer ones coming through in the field, and makes it look more typical of a grassy field. This is where I've used static grass in the castle. This is sort of trying to make it look more like a well-kept lawn. It's all 2mm grass, so it's and some flock. So it's designed to look more like a lawn, less like a field. If I come out from here, you can see what I did in front of the house here. Again, trying to make it look, well, not like a perfect lawn, but more lawny and less field-like. Just to show you how I use both the static grass and those sheets of static grass to do the edge of the riverbank. It's very difficult to get static grass to go on the vertical surfaces, but by using the sheets that I showed you earlier, I was able to put those in place and